Hi there, I'm Cameron, and I'm here today with Julia Corliss to learn a bit more about music as an art form and as well about music as the multi-million-dollar industry that it is today. Hi Julia, tell me a little bit about who you are and how you got started in the music industry.
My name is Julia Corliss. That's a weird question for me of how I got involved in the music industry. I think a part of me always wanted to be, I was always playing music when I was a kid, and I always loved music, more than anything else. I was always really aware of music. I'd always notice it when we were, in restaurants, or, when we were out, and I'd, be like, oh, that's that song, and, people would be like, there's music right now. I was always really engrossed in it, and I think the first time I ever thought about doing it as a career was when I was 12 and I heard All Songs Considered with Bob Whalen.
So All Songs Considered was definitely a major influence. Were there any other factors that influenced your start in the music world?
I mean, when I was in high school, I had a friend named James who was very into old records, the vinyl thing. It was kind of the beginning of the resurgence of vinyl, and I was just getting into stuff, so I didn't really understand the whole quality difference, the difference of old records versus more commercially new based music.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what you do in the music industry now.
Primarily right now I'm working as a publicist, marketing kind of person, helping out studios and artists and stuff like that.
That's really cool. Do you have a process that you go through?
I mean, obviously, when I meet an artist and I talk with an artist, I try to, kind of figure out what lane they fit into as far as other artists, genre-wise, but also where they would like to see their career go, and I try to place them in publications or mediums that are similar to other things. I try to figure out what band they're similar to and kind of model that after that.
That's very cool. Do you have any place in the Twin Cities, specifically in Minneapolis or Saint Paul, where you feel you're more inspired or your creativity flows more openly?
I'm one of those kind of nomadic people. I like to just happen upon places. I get in these kind of reckless moods where I just kind of like to go to a coffee shop or a different place that I haven't been before. And I think there's a lot of places that you can just kind of hang out in the Twin Cities. And I think there's a lot of places that aren't necessarily as popular as one of the city pages or, vitamin covers that you can just kind of go to that aren't necessarily as crazy as Spy House or something.
Absolutely, absolutely. When an artist is just starting out and they're just getting into their first phase and, maybe they have a few fans but nothing, they can't really sell out a room, what is your advice to young artists who really want to be more part of the music scene?
I think, especially in this scene, and especially in the scenes that really appreciate the local scenes, I would say, other bands are your best resource. Network with them, become friends with them. They'll put you on bands with, bills with them and other bands. They're the ones that will hook you up and be don't book here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think collaboration is a very...
and once you start, pumping their stuff, they'll pump your stuff, on their social media or in their shows, if they're friends with you, they'll be our friends are, playing here next week or whatever. I think the best thing you can do as a new band is just utilize other bands that are already doing their thing in the city.
That's awesome. I think that's really great advice. How do you personally find a balance between the music industry and the more creative part that you enjoy? Where do you find your, I've been grinding for this many hours a day, but I really want to, where do you find your balance?
I mean, I think for me, it's always been different because I've always enjoyed the grinding part more than some people. And I'm not saying, I'm kind of the opposite problem where I like to grind too much, where sometimes then I burn myself out and then I have to take a kind of creative break or a break where I just, do what I want to do that's way more chill.
Yeah.
But, I don't dislike this job. I mean, and yeah, it comes with its problems and it's hard and it's constant, but that's kind of what I like about it.
Well, and just one more question for you. I think that's very uncommon, but very, very cool of you. because I don't know very many people who have that love for the industry side of the music industry.
I mean, it's kind of weird because I was like talking to my friend Felipe at home, who I interned, with in Austin, and he was like, I feel like the more I get into this, the more I realize like I know too much, and I don't know. I realize how tough the business is, and I don't know if I want to do this. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, I've gone through that phase too. Like, I was talking to him about it, and I was like, I went through that phase where I was like, why would you try and do something like that? Like, why would you want to do it? And the truth is, I just have love for what I'm doing. Like, so much that it doesn't even really matter if I succeed in it in some way. Like, obviously, I want to see, like, people come up and, like, be a part of that. But, like, to even try and be a part of that is, like, a major thing for me. Like, it's what I enjoy, so.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Just one last question for you. Tell me a little bit about how you see music as an art form.
I think music, first and foremost, has always been an art form. And I think, for a long time, it was thought that you couldn't blend art and commerce together. Like, if something was commerce, it was no longer art. If something was art, it couldn't sell and it couldn't be part of commerce. But I think the blending of commerce and art these days is actually creating, like, a whole new form of art. So where do I see it as an art form? I see it as something that's an art form that's not going to stay, like, stagnant. I see it as something that's changing in the way that it's presented to people.
That's awesome, Julia. Thank you for coming in today and talking with everybody here.